What's up guys, my name is Carl and welcome back to Tech Hunter. This right here is BenQ's top of the line portable projector, the BenQ GS50. It's a 1080p portable and outdoor smart projector with up to 2.5 hours of battery life, IPX2 splash proof, drop proof up to 70 centimeters, and has plenty of Google Chromecast features built in thanks to Android TV 9.0. All that for around £630 in the UK and $750 in the US. Is it a good deal, or is it just a little bit too much for the price you pay? Let's find out. If you've not seen my previous review of the BenQ GS2, which is a level below this GS50, then you might want to consider checking that out too, as it's a somewhat more affordable projector with a lot of similar features. Click the link in the corner of the screen or check the description down below that like button. Similarly to the GS2, the GS50 includes a nice little carrying bag, which gives you plenty of room to keep the charging brick, the included remote, and the projector itself. The charging brick itself is capable of delivering up to 62 watts and connects to the rear of the projector using a standard barrel connector, which is a little bit disappointing as the cheaper GS2 has a much more accident-friendly magnetic connector, like the MagSafe connector on the newer and older MacBooks. Looking around the projector, we can see there's a small flap on the side which covers up the I/O. Under there we have a 3.5mm audio out port, a USB Type-C port with support for DisplayPort, a HDMI 2.0 port, and a USB Type-A port for connecting external storage devices like a USB drive or external hard drive, or even a mouse and keyboard if you wanted to. There's also a small little switch under there to lock the projector, preventing people from pressing buttons on the top of the projector like the volume buttons, Bluetooth, or power button. The flexibility of all these ports really opens up the possibility of what you can do with this portable projector, whether you want to connect to your laptop, games console, or even a dedicated Blu-ray player if you still have one of those. Obviously, assuming you have a way to power those things. At the back of the projector is a small section where the logo is situated. This section slides off to reveal where you install BenQ's own HDMI media streamer, included in the box, the QS01. It plugs into the internal HDMI port and is powered by a tiny micro USB cable. The QS01 itself is capable of 4K Ultra HD content, mirror screening, Bluetooth 4.2, and can connect to 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks. The QS01 is equipped with 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of storage and provides us with a pretty solid and smooth Android TV experience and all the features that it brings. A little bit more on that later. The display technology that BenQ have used is DLP, together with an LED lamp which is rated from 20 to 30,000 hours, depending on whether you use it in normal mode or eco mode. It has autofocus and auto keystone built in, so you don't have to waste time trying to get everything perfect. The GS50 seems to nail it every time. The GS50 has a contrast ratio of 100,000 to 1, and the LED lamp is capable of 500 lumens of brightness. If you were thinking of using this as a gaming projector, you might want to avoid competitive games or even FPS games, as the 62 milliseconds of input lag will not do you any favors, but it would be just fine for some casual adventure and action games. Elsewhere on the projector, we've got a little button at the front, where if we were to push it, a small little adjustable stand will pop out to help you get a better viewing angle. It seems a bit cheap and crude, but it works, so I guess I can't fault it. Though to be honest, I'd probably recommend mounting the GS50 on a tripod like this, so you can easily tilt it up or down and easily get your picture straight just by adjusting the legs. On one side of the projector, you get a little brown leather handle, which makes the projector a bit easier to carry, I guess, though I imagine most movement would be done inside the included carry case, or you'd pick it up with two hands just to be extra safe, considering it costs over £600 and you probably don't want to drop it if you can avoid it. So I'm not too sure how often you would actually want to pick it up with the handle anyway. On the rear of the projector is where the incredibly loud exhaust fan is situated and the built-in 10-watt woofer. That fan I just mentioned is such an odd one. At the most random times, it will just decide to kick in and go full bore. Then at other times, it'll be more or less silent. All of this is most noticeable when you're navigating through menus or deciding what to actually watch. But all the time you've got some audio playing, you probably never really notice it. Speaking of audio, that is honestly a huge upgrade over the GS2. The GS2 only includes two 2-watt speakers in total. The GS50 has two 5-watt speakers and a 10-watt woofer, which makes for a fairly acceptable speaker system built into such a small package. I compared the GS2 to a smartphone speaker in terms of quality, but the GS50 is definitely a much improved speaker system and resolves one of my biggest criticisms of that projector. The built-in speakers aren't amazing, but they're a massive improvement over the GS2 and honestly make the GS50 a much more enjoyable device to use. If you're just watching casual films or TV shows, the built-in speaker is more than adequate. But if you want to watch that big blockbuster movie, then you'll find yourself wanting a little bit more. The ability to use the GS50 as a standalone Bluetooth speaker while the projector LED is turned off is also a plus, and if you're tight for space when traveling, it could serve as both a speaker and a projector for you, eliminating that need to take an additional speaker with you. Though if you have got room in the car or the van, then I probably recommend just taking a Bluetooth speaker with you anyway. The remote that is included is fairly decent size, and it's similar in length to that of my Galaxy S21 Ultra. Overall, the buttons feel pretty good and they offer a good response to being pushed. Across the remote, there are plenty of useful quick buttons, like quickly pressing the autofocus button or the auto keystone buttons, so you can quickly make any tweaks without having to dive into the settings menu. You can easily adjust your sources, adjust the volume, and navigate the Android UI, and even make use of voice control if you wanted to. Unlike the GS2, there are no extra controls on top of the GS50 other than volume, Bluetooth, and the power button. So if you can't find the remote and you are a bit stuck, then you would have to rely on the BenQ Smart Control app, which works pretty well in all honesty, but will only work if your smartphone and the projector are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. After plugging in the QS-01 and setting up the projector and turning it on, it's super quick and only takes a couple of minutes the first time you turn it on, as it's just a case of following the on-screen Android TV prompts. After that, you're ready to explore Android TV 9.0. It's not the most up-to-date version, but it still manages to contain most of the features you would need, like casting from your phone, accessing the Google Play Store, and plenty of streaming apps ready to go. The only big issue, which is extremely common on nearly every smart projector, is the ability to watch Netflix. You can sideload Netflix by downloading Apps Manager and Aptoide TV from the Google Play Store, then installing Netflix from the Aptoide TV store. It kind of works, but you're working with what seems like a tablet version. It's slow, it crashes a lot, and it's a terrible experience all around. If you really want to watch Netflix, I'd recommend either casting from a laptop using Google Chrome and visiting the Netflix website, or just simply connect up something like an actual Google Chromecast, a Fire Stick, or even a games console, or connect to the HDMI with your laptop. The projection size ranges from 30 inches to 120 inches, depending on viewing distance. For ideal viewing, BenQ recommends a screen size between 80 and 100 inches. At 2.1 meters from the wall or screen, you can achieve an 80-inch display. At 2.4 meters, you'll get 90 inches, and at 2.7 meters, you'll get a 100-inch screen, which is pretty cool. Personally, I'd probably stick to a slightly smaller screen size around the 70 to 80-inch mark, as the picture can start to get a little bit blurrier and less crisp the bigger you go. Now it's time to talk about the projection and the quality of it. 1080p is a very welcome improvement compared to the GS2, even if it sacrifices a little bit of battery life. If you're using the projector outdoors or in an extremely dark environment, it performs pretty well. Where it really struggles though is the dark scenes. The limited brightness can make it really difficult to determine what's happening and determine the difference between lighter and darker areas of the screen. Colors are pretty flat and dull. The most vibrant and colorful scenes from movies or games can come across pretty lifeless and are a far cry from what you might be used to on your TV, or even your phone or laptop for that matter. I primarily use the GS50 on a fairly inexpensive 120-inch portable projector screen, which is what I'd probably recommend people consider when purchasing a portable projector. Some people are capable of getting away with just a bedsheet or even just a plain white flat wall, but honestly, they're kind of hard to find. Honestly though, it's hard to judge the quality of the projector when its main priority is portability, connectivity, battery life, and some decent integrated speakers. The idea of the device is to be able to watch movies and shows on the go, in the garden, or the ability to move it around and maybe take it to a friend's house. Of course, if you are on the go, you will more than likely need to hotspot your phone so you can access the streaming services. Overall though, during my loan period with the BenQ GS50, it's been really enjoyable. I've enjoyed hours of Peaky Blinders and even a few films. It might not be something you use every single day, but it's definitely a cool piece of tech. And if you live in a country with a much warmer climate, or you're waiting for the summer and you're happy to sit outside in the evening, then you might be a bit more willing to venture outside with this thing than what I have. It's a solid, well-built device weighing in at around 2.3 kilograms, and the ability to just throw it in its bag or even a backpack and just get up and go is pretty cool. The design though is a little divisive and quirky, yet it kind of suits it. The greens and browns and oranges give you the feel of outdoors, like the color of the leaves during autumn. And the white, well, that just makes it feel a little bit more fresh and modern in my opinion. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. If you've got any questions at all, let me know down below. If you liked it, feel free to click that like button down below as well. And if you just like my face hasn't offended you, don't forget to click that subscribe button. and the bell icon so you can check my next video. Cheers.